Hello. I'm almost certain that applause was for me. Let's give it up for her, though.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
you just flew in from Toronto, please.
Well, I mean,
Oh my gosh.
Kelly, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you.
So, you are now a member of the tech community. How does it feel?
It feels great, actually. It's super fun, super fun.
And what influenced your decision to join us here in Tech World?
Eric and Benjamin, who founded Wiser, reached out to me a couple of years ago, and I was sort of at a point where I was starting to develop film projects and think about creative directing and just kind of branching out and doing some things that I had thought about doing before. And they sent me an email, and I just really loved the concept, and then I met them and I just fell in love with them. They're just amazing people, and here we are. So
Fantastic. And specifically, what was it about Wiser that really got you, that made you interested? Because there are so many options and projects that you could have gotten involved in. What
Yes.
stood out?
Yes. Well, I love social media, and I myself was feeling very like wanting to branch out and have a more nourishing, expansive experience in social media, go deeper. And that's basically what Wiser does. So it's a way in which we can monetize content, connect with our communities, and also expand on what being a creator or an expert means in the world.
So now would probably be a good time to learn a little bit more about the app, because
Yes.
I'm not sure everybody in the audience is familiar. So let's talk a little bit about
Yeah.
Wiser. How would you sort of describe it? What do people need to know about it?
It's a social media app for knowledge and expertise, where creators can monetize, create communities, and do many monetized content, and also interact with their audience. So, for someone like myself, it's nice to know what people would like to have me talk about or create a class around, or other people that I can engage with that can expand knowledge and awareness. So,
Yeah, well, it seems like there's a lot of education platforms, a lot of technologies that are trying to connect experts with an audience. What do you think makes Wiser special and different in that way?
well, it's more expansive, so it can be anything from AI to entertainment to philanthropy. It's just incredibly broad. Which is what I love, and that you can share it, so you can curate knowledge and expertise. So if I follow you, I can learn what you're learning about, and you can actually curate things that you're super interested in, which then makes it a lot easier for me, because if I follow you, I can say, oh my gosh, I would never have known about those 5 experts or creators.
So it's all about engagement and social interactivity.
Yes, and it's exponential, so learning becomes exponential. Yeah.
Fantastic. And what impact do you hope to have on the company?
Oh, I'm just excited that they invited me on the adventure, really, and it's been an incredible learning experience, and it's something that I really have been wanting to see in the world, so that's why I'm super excited about using the platform, and I know so many of my friends are excited about it too, so.
And you said learning experience. Can you share some of the lessons that you've learned so far?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just being open and being a better listener, and understanding that, for me, patience has always been a big thing. So it's just, and also learning how many resources we actually have. So I've never been sort of in a position to use the resources in which I have as much as I have in this moment. So it's been a really exciting time, and also to really be at the beginning of something and watch it grow and expand and change, and and just the collaboration part of it has been really wonderful.
Well, in that way, and maybe this is a bit of a stretch, does it feel like Hollywood at all? What are some of the similarities that you've noticed between the glitz and glamour of Hollywood and the tech world?
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities. I mean, they're both businesses. They both, there's sort of a long developmental stage. There tends to be. I mean, if you think about what it takes to make a film, it's all those years before that we don't see when the film is actually on the screen, right? And it's also about awareness. So if you have, let's say, a film that's not being promoted or a TV series, I've been on both. Some that have been very promoted and some that haven't, and you see the opportunities that are created out of that. So I think there's a lot of similarities actually between the two, and the impact that you have on the world. I mean, if you think about the entertainment industry and then the tech world, I mean, they both have such a huge impact.
And on the opposite side of things, what are some of the biggest differences you've noticed going from one to the other? Maybe things that you had to get used to joining in the tech community that maybe surprised you or were different than what you expected?
I mean, partly it's just how people interact maybe a little bit. It's just a different, I think entertainment people are just their own breed, just like sort of tech people are their own, but so it's just sort of finding that balance between how we can support each other and help each other and expand what's really great about bringing in the future.
Both a lot of California, you know, from LA, San Francisco, that connection. And so you said that one of the big reasons why you wanted to join Wiser specifically was the team behind it. What inspired you about their vision?
Well, mostly that it was something that I'd really been wanting to see in the world. So when they, sent me this email, I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. I love this. The concept to begin with, and then meeting them, like anything, I think there's a certain alchemy that happens where, I mean, to be honest, I was skiing with my kids in San Moritz, and they were in Hamburg, and they drove to meet me, and we walked around the lake, and we had a pizza and a beer. And I thought, I just love these guys, and I felt that they were super professional. I love the vision, and really, they are who they say they are, and they have an enormous amount of integrity, and they're super honest. And I think when you are in the public and you align with something, you want to make sure that that there is integrity there, because you're putting your brand out into the world alongside. So it's really important.
Well, that sounds like another similarity with Hollywood, where you're tying your personal brand in with the project, and it's either going to succeed or fail, and that will reflect on you at the end of the day. Does it make it more or less nerve-wracking?
Both. It's both. But sort of as time has gone on, I have such faith in them, and I just love them as people. So that's the important thing, I think, as much as everything else is important. It really is, that human connection.
Well, it sounds like they've had quite an impact on you. Do you feel like you're having an impact on them in the direction of the company?
I hope so. I think we definitely share the same enthusiasm. So it's great. Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic. And so tell us a little bit more about the platform, because there are so many, like I said, learning platforms out there. A lot of them are sort of more passive. You sit and you watch, you sign up for a course, but of course the drop-off rates for those courses are relatively high. A lot of people sign up, some even pay for the courses and don't stick with it to the very end of the program. What is Wiser doing differently to keep people engaged and to keep them, following through on their educational goals? Yeah.
Well, there's going to be many options. So it's not just simply, let's say, a master class, and it's not simply education under that umbrella, right? It's more learning and learning from people that are experts, and engaging with them and engaging with other users on the platform. So there's something called circles, and then there's dots. So there's short form learning, and then there's long form learning. There's also the ability to have conversations in the same way. It's almost like a podcast, which is what I love, is just bringing more people into my, sharing the people that are in my world with a bigger audience.
And I know that they're looking for a broad audience here, but they are Gen Z founders themselves, and they are talking a lot about building that Gen Z audience. Do you feel like you connect with them? Do you feel like there's a disconnect between generations? Do you feel like it's easy to see what they're going for and how they're looking to attract their peers?
Oh my God, I have no idea. I don't even know what all these XG whatever. I mean, I need like a board that just says this is what age group, all these different things. I just see people as people. And it's at every age, I think there's an opportunity to expand our awareness about so many different interests. I have so many different interests, and I think everyone in this room does, everyone at this summit does. So it's really a way to just expand your awareness in a very verified place, with verified creators, verified experts, no matter what age you are. I mean, I identify with people of every age.
As you said, you have many hobbies, you have many talents, you have many expertise. Can we expect to see you sharing those expertise on the platform?
Okay, I'll do my best. If I'm knitting or like
Well, what are some of the
decorating a
areas
house,
that
don't be surprised.
what are some of the areas that you would want to speak about?
I think resilience and leadership, and also, we all have obviously so many different aspects to ourselves. We're multidimensional, so how to integrate all of those things and be as expansive as we can be in the world, and also sort of the ethos, the seed of all of that being, coming from a place of honesty and integrity, and bringing in the future in a very intentional way. I've got a friend here. I think he followed me from the countryside. I just came in from the English countryside. I probably have I got on a plane, I had mud on my boots. I'm like, okay.
And so I would imagine that there's a few folks in this audience that have some expertise to share.
Yes.
What can they do to get started, to share their expertise and to learn from their peers?
Well, you can go to the App Store. We're already in the App Store, and download the app and sign up to be an expert or a user on the platform. That's what you can do now. And
we better correct the spelling as well, because if anyone's searching for W-I-S-E-R, they're not going to find it.
Exactly. Thank you.
It's W-Y-Z-Z or Z-Z, depending on what part of the world you're from. E-R.
Wiser, yeah.
My Canadian is showing.
I love it.
And so for the prospective experts in the audience, what advice do you have for them when it comes to showcasing their expertise?
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, I could probably get some advice from them. I could probably get some advice from people here about that. I think we're all here to bring in the future, and it's deciding how you see the future and what you want to bring in, and having conversations around that, no matter what your focus is, right? So I think it's a bigger conversation now, because there's so much information that we're being bombarded with. It's like, how do you, with intention, bring in the future, and the future that you want to see? And that's one of the reasons I got involved with Wiser. So I think as an expert, it's really important to think that way, and how you're sort of forming your content.
And so,
did that make sense? I
yeah.
hope it did. In a sort of out there way.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, in terms of tactics, like camera angles, and no.
Lighting. It's all lighting.
All lighting. Okay, there's some advice to take home for the content creators out there. All about lighting. And so, are you now sort of in both worlds? Do you feel like you have your feet planted in tech? Is this something that you feel comfortable with, and perhaps looking to expand in the future?
Yes, for sure. I'd love to. I mean, obviously, right now my focus is Wiser, and we're growing pretty quickly here. So it's where my attention is. Obviously, I'm doing some film projects as well, developing those. But yeah, it's a really fun world, and I'm continually learning more. So it's a fun place to be.
Fantastic.
Yeah, where you're always learning.
Do you find that any of your experiences with the tech community is inspiring any of your, day job?
It is. They help each other a lot, because we're all just dealing with Zoom now, and Zoom calls, and people, and how to navigate relationships and connections. So a lot of that is new to me. So I've really been learning a lot about that, and just to sort of sometimes be quiet and let things find their place rather than,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm realizing how they really help each other a lot. The world that I come from, and tech.
Yeah, they seem to be merging in a lot of ways. I mean, we're
Yes.
talking about an app where you're filming yourself, and so I guess there is some overlap there.
Yeah, yeah.
But now you've got two careers in a sense, or at least a new addition. Is that hard to balance? Is it weird to switch between one mentality and the other?
They're both creative. I mean, they're
That's
really
true.
ultimately both creative. So no, and I think I just don't put labels on anything. I just think, okay, I'm really passionate about this over here. I'm passionate about this over here. And as you know, these things each take their own time to develop. So you can have a few things going at the same time. I mean, to have a writer, you have a story, by the time that writer writes that script, you can be over here doing this. And the same with Wiser, as the app's being developed and been raising money, it's given, there's time to do other things, obviously. So
I was going to say, it sounds like you're a particularly busy woman these days, balancing the two.
it's fun. It's
Fantastic.
really fun. I feel fortunate.
And so, where is the app at right now, and when can people expect to have access to it? Are we able to share that?
So we're still in the fundraising. We're developing the app as we speak, and we have been sort of testing it, and also plan to launch early next year. So,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Okay. And do you see parallels in the development stage of both? Because you've talked a little bit about they both have that development stage. Do you find that there's some similarities there?
Yes, it is, because because even if you're developing a script, there's things you want to tweak. You have a first draft, you have a second draft. It's an evolution and a process, just like this is. And allowing it also sort of to become what it's supposed to be in the world is also an interesting aspect to it. It becomes its own thing as well. So, and I also I think leaving space for and allowing things to align. I think we all hustle a lot, and we get out there and we want to make it happen, which is what we've been taught, but there's also an aspect of really allowing the right elements to fall into place at the right time, or come into play at the right time, and really just keeping the vision. Is super important.
I guess it's similarly that balance between sticking with the original script and doing it justice, but also making the appropriate changes without getting rid of the magic that
Yes.
made people interested in the first place.
Yes.
Yeah.
And being open to things that you might not have thought about, that might even be better.
Very true.
Yeah.
So in our last few seconds here, can we get any hints about the film projects you're working on?
Oh my gosh. I just did a French series called Escort Boys, which will be out early next year on Amazon. And then I have 2 scripts that just got finished, so those will be sent out into the world soon. One is about Stevie Nicks. It's a road trip movie.
Ooh.
And the other one is, it's a beautiful sort of romantic film set in Italy, of course, because we all want to go film in Italy.
That sounds great. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for being here. Let's hear it for Kelly, everybody.
Aw, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out.